Hey, good morning. Happy kickoff Sunday. I'm wearing my beautiful, yes, I'll say it, it's beautiful, my beautiful Chiefs jersey today because it is kickoff Sunday. We're not celebrating the kickoff of NFL. However, that is cool that they line up like this, right? No, this is kind of when we launch into our season of ministry, and this is when we do our new life groups and sign-ups. Hey, I just want to invite you, if you are interested at all in doing a life group online, maybe you are stuck at home and not able to get out for some reason, if you're interested in leading a life group, would you reach out to us and let us know? We'd love to help you facilitate that, help you get connected with some other people who would like to do an online life group with you. I think that would be a great next step for many of you to take. As you can tell, the band got started a little bit earlier than normal, doing a little bit of fun kickoff stuff today, and so I'm going to step out of the way early and let you connect with them early. I will say to you that I don't know if you're wearing a jersey or if you are fully in the spirit of Kickoff Sunday. You're probably at home, and I don't even want to know what you're wearing. But wherever you are, my invitation is that you will listen to God today, hear from Him, and lean in. All right, let's worship together today.
Hey, good morning, church. It is so good to see all of you here on Kickoff Sunday. Hey, my name is Grant, and this is Chris and Deborah, and we're going to be singing with you today. I want to invite you to stand and sing along with us. I was buried beneath my shame. Who could carry that kind of weight? It was my tomb till I made it.
T-shirt? Anybody?
T-shirt, anyone?
I think that's a Mahomes
Let me see if I
jersey.
can
That
do
one's
this.
over there, yeah.
Hold on. Got to get my NFL on now. Here we go. Did you make it?
Can you do it?
Oh, yeah, watch this. Excuse me, everybody in the front row, watch out. Oh, wow. The sound guy needed one. It's fine. Here we go.
Yeah.
You guys think I can throw it up there? Come on. I need you to make some noise, teens.
You can do it.
Come on.
Oh!
Yeah. That was great.
All right, you can grab a seat.
Whew. Anyway.
Hey, happy Kickoff Sunday.
Hey, you too.
Yeah. This is, there's a lot more jerseys service than last service.
Yes, I know. First service, they were all still sleeping.
Old people.
Uh,
No.
hey, you better be careful. You're getting up there.
That's, shh. You have a very ugly jersey on.
You know what? This jersey and I go way back to this morning when I put it on. So does the team and I. So I know a lot. This is the current quarterback, am I right?
Yes.
Villanueva. Is that how you say his name?
Close.
Anyway.
Hey,
Yeah.
when are you gonna pull the trigger and just become a Chiefs fan?
Well.
Just say, I know I don't care, but I will care.
What are the what's your life like as a Chiefs fan?
Right now it's good. It was not good when I was a teenager. However, I will say, if you want to, here's all being a fan requires of you. When they win, you walk around and gloat all week long. So it's a good week.
Okay.
When they lose, you are miserable and hate your life and go into depression. That's all you have to do.
So you're saying for the next 4 months I will be depressed?
No, I'm not saying that.
Oh.
Do you see what this says? Super Bowl champs.
Oh, okay, my bad. Yes, that's true. That's true.
Pick your team
That was a
wisely.
good one. I
will
thought
determine
of that one.
Yeah.
On the spot.
Good job.
Damn.
Hey, yes, thank you for coming today to this awesome Kickoff Sunday. This is kind of when we launch into ministry for the year, so we do it every year. Speaking of launching into ministry, I heard you had over 100 people at New Life Youth again this week.
We sure did.
Yeah.
So, heck yeah, that was fun. We met at the church. We met right here for the first time. And let me just tell you, it was awesome.
Yeah.
You guys are fun, but kind of boring. But teens in this room, boy howdy.
Hype.
You should have been here.
Yeah.
If you want to volunteer, you can be here and see
Otherwise,
the energy.
don't come here.
Otherwise, don't come here.
Yeah.
But yeah, teens had fun. I had fun, and yeah, it was a lot of people, and it was great.
It's a big deal because we had our kickoff last week, and we were really pumped that we had over 100 people at that. And then usually you have like a drop off, after your kickoff. That's just kind of how everybody comes to the first one, and then not everybody returns. Then you have over 100 people again.
Yes,
So,
God is doing
awesome.
some cool things in that ministry.
Very exciting
Whoop, whoop.
stuff. All right. Is that all we got?
No, I think so. I think, yeah.
Okay, good. Watch this.
Wins it back, and Bruno Fernandes is on the surge. Could set up Sancho, he could go alone. Karius denies him.
Yeah, it's game over anyway right now. Leading the Chelsea press, and Mudryk's pinched it back here. Mykhailo Mudryk only denied by an excellent save from Emi Martinez, who immediately begins the...
Haaland coming forward. De Bruyne hits a low ball in. Foden will score. No good save. Brilliant save. It was actually a shot, I think, from De Bruyne.
Let's be honest, the soccer folks have a much better claim to the name football than we do. I mean, in football, our football, you get like one kick every once in a while. They do a lot more football. I've been watching more soccer, football, this year in the last month than I have the rest of my life combined. I've been going to the Pronghorns game, and my boys playing soccer. I've been watching a lot of soccer. And one of the things I've noticed in soccer is how obvious it is when somebody is a selfish player and they're not in there very long. A selfish player in soccer doesn't go very far, right? You need good passers on your team. And we're going to kind of lean into that illustration today. First, let me say welcome to those of you who are watching online on Church 307, to the guys over at the prison, to our friends at the jail, and those of you who are here in the room. My message today has a very clear, definite, singular point. My goal is that by the end of this message, to invite you to take a next step. It's an invitation, and here's the invitation. To commit or to recommit to the church. And we will do that by taking a next step of connection, of sacrifice, of service, of fellowship. In some way, take a next step in your participation with God's church. You know, our world doesn't love the idea of being a part of the church because they say one of two things. They're like, church is old school. I don't have time for that. The truth is, there's a little bit of truth to that. The church is old school. We've been doing, the styles changed a little bit, but we've been doing the same type of thing for thousands of years. Yeah, it's old school. The second thing they say about the church is, I don't want to go to church. It's just boring, and they're all judgmental, and I just have no interest in church. And so people take a step back, let them do it, or actually what they say is, I can be a Christian without the church. I don't need the church to be a Christian. There's a little bit of truth in that one too. The problem is, from my experience, the people who disconnect from the church and try to be a Christian without being a part of the church, they just kind of fizzle out. Sometimes they run back to the church to kind of reconnect and rebuild their relationship with God. Because leaving the church has two big dangers. The first one is the big danger, it's deconversion. Because this world has surrendered to the tricks and to the lies of the Satan. The Satan is the father of lies, and he uses the allure of sin, and he will tell you that you don't need God, and he will pull you away from God unless you have the support of the body, the accountability that we bring to each other, and the fellowship that we bring to each other. The odds of you resisting the attacks of the Satan go up. We need the church. But even if you don't go to the extreme of deconverting as a result of disconnection from the church, the second danger is ineffectiveness. Because the last thing that Jesus said before he ascended into heaven was to get on mission. Like, being a part of my body means more than just receiving a gift. It also requires you to give a gift. And this is in the moment when he gives us the great co-mission, together mission. It's something that we are doing together. It's a gift that we are giving together. Jesus' brother James said, faith by itself isn't enough. Unless it produces good deeds, it is dead and useless. Is he saying that you have to be good to be saved? No, that is not the point of what he's saying. But if a Christian does not do good deeds, he says that Christian is useless. In other words, you are not helpful to this mission. You are not helpful to God and his promise to redeem our world, to draw all people to himself. Every knee will bow, and you can either be a part of that mission or you can be separate from that mission. Without good deeds, you cannot be a part of it. And Christians who choose to receive the gift without giving the gift are impotent and selfish. And that is not the kind of church, New Life, Church 307. That is not the type of Christians that we will be. We don't want to be impotent because isolated faith is impotent faith. We need the church or our heritage will die. We want, for 1,000 years from now, people to be saying that the church is old school. Still old school. We're just going to keep being old school, handing off the tradition, handing off our faith to our kids as it continues to grow. And most of us don't like this because we think the idea of sharing our faith with people turns us into greasy salespeople pushing our religion on people. That's not what I'm asking you to do. What I'm asking you to do is to be a part of the Great Commission by giving a great gift. That's the good news. We have the good news to share. The good news is you can be rescued. You can be set free. You are in bondage now, but you've been offered the gift of freedom. Because evangelism should flow naturally out of a relationship with God and his people. As we love each other and as we love God, that love overflows to the people that are around us. When some people look at Christianity, they do not see freedom. They think of it as a lot of slavery, a lot of bondage. Usually what they think about is one of two things. They're thinking about the rules. I don't want rules. I want to do what I want to do when I want to do it. They think that of rules, like we talked about last week, as some form of bondage. But we showed last week that no, actually rules can set us free. Rules can give us freedom that a lack of rules just takes away from us. It just leads to death. The rules God gives us set us free. Or maybe they think about accountability. I don't want that accountability stuff. If I go to church, I'm going to walk in, they're going to be just a bunch of judgmental people trying to control me. And yes, some Christians suck at it. Some Christians tend into Phariseeism. And we become those judgmental people who think we're better than and start accusing other people of not being what we are while hiding the sins that we commit. But here's the truth. We all start there, but if we mature, we become less judgmental. If we mature, we recognize, when I was in college, I knew everything. I knew everything until I learned the one thing I did not know, and that was that I knew nothing. I learned and I grew. And as I learned, I recognized, okay, actually, we're all on a journey. We're all growing. We're all maturing. And when you recognize that, your temptation to point fingers decreases. The reality is, even the professional Christians sin. Even professionals trip up.
From the 12, Jones keeps, gets a block, takes off, and he is gone. Trying to stay upright, and he trips. Absolutely all alone, and he trips.
Absolutely all alone, and he trips. Anybody ever felt like that? Why do I keep doing it? Why do I keep going back to it? Why do I keep failing in the same way? I was totally set up for success. We've all been there. Happy Kickoff Sunday. My goal is to criticize as many NFL teams as I possibly can. Now, even Christians who've been doing it for a long time recognize that sometimes we make mistakes. But we get better, we grow, we mature. Have you ever walked into a guitar store before? When you walk into a guitar store, what do you hear? You hear a lot of this. Sounds good.
Yeah, if you see another one, just like swap.
There's pride building in his chest right now. Look how cool I look. Oh, I'm good. Just skill. And they all think they're the best. And if you walk into a guitar store, here's what you're going to hear. You're going to hear 12 teenagers trying to play Stairway to Heaven. And it's going to sound terrible. They're all going to be off. So what's your reaction to hearing their bad version of Stairway to Heaven? You think, wow, Led Zeppelin sucks. That song is terrible. Do you judge the song based on their version of the song? No, I think that's what people do with Christians all the time. I'm not going to be a Christian. Have you seen those Christians? They're a bunch of hypocrites and judgmental, arrogant. And they judge Christ based on our failures. How ignorant. If you want to know what the song sounds like, go listen to Led Zeppelin. If you want to know whether or not you should follow Christ, go to Christ. Go read His words. Go learn from Him and discover whether or not you will follow Him. But here's the cool thing. If that teenager sticks with it in the guitar store, if he buys the guitar and he makes it his own and he starts to practice and learn and mature over time, the teenager will get really good at playing Stairway to Heaven. Over time, he will mature and he will make a sound, a beautiful sound, that he could never have made when he first started. That's sanctification. That's the maturing, that's the growing process that we are all invited, encouraged to be a part of. There are two types of relationships that help us become the people that God created us to be. Imagine it this way. You're the strings on that teenager's guitar. You are the string. And in order to create a sound, that string needs to be connected in two places. That string on the guitar needs to be connected to the head of the guitar and to the body of the guitar. And if the string is connected to both, then you can make music. So step one, get connected to the head, to God. G.K. Chesterton one time wrote a 2-word essay for an English newspaper. They asked a bunch of intelligent people to answer a question in an essay form, and all these people across England were writing these brilliant essays in response to this question that the newspaper asked. And it came G.K. Chesterton's turn to write his essay, and he turned in an essay to the newspaper that was 2 words long. I wish he was the editor on my dissertation. That would have been much easier. Here's the essay he wrote. I am. And if that doesn't seem profound, it's because you don't know the title, you don't know the question they were meant to answer in their essay. The question he was meant to answer in the essay is, what is wrong with the world? What's wrong with the world? All you need to know. I don't need to go into some rant about politics or war. Here's what you need to know. What is wrong with the world is in me. Because Christians realize, if we're obeying the words of Christ, that the problem with the world cannot be solved by pointing fingers, by yelling at other people. The only way that problems can be solved in the world is if hearts are changed and minds are renewed, minds are transformed. And we solve this problem not by pointing at other people, but it's the man in the mirror, Michael Jackson thing. By letting God change us, by letting God change our minds. One time, the Apostle Peter was leading the early church, and the political leaders didn't like that, so they throw him in jail. And while Peter was in prison, the church prayed very earnestly for him. The church. When we are in trouble, when we are in pain, we need the church. Get in a life group. Get in a life group. Get in a life group. Because there's going to be a time when you're going to be in chains, and you're going to need your life group to be praying for you. Our life groups are small churches within our big church. And you need that desperately, because the time will come when you will be in chains. The night before Peter was to be placed on trial, he was asleep, fastened with 2 chains between 2 soldiers. There's going to be a time when you are going to be alone, in pain, in chains, and you're going to desperately want somebody to pray for you, to be there for you, to support you. Suddenly, there was a bright light in the cell, and an angel of the Lord stood before Peter. Have you ever noticed how when everything is good, there's no chains, there's no big heavy burdens in my life, I've got things under control. When things are good, that's when I get tempted to point fingers, to judge people. Well, why don't you just do it the way that I'm doing it? Look at me. But when we are in chains, it is hard to point fingers. It's hard for me to judge the way you're doing it because I'm struggling and the way I'm doing it. When things get bad, we just hope and pray that the people that we've been judging will come to our rescue. The people that we've been judging will pray for us and support us. And the angel struck him on the side to awaken him and said, "Get up, quick, get up." And the chains fell off his wrists. We like to point fingers at the other people in chains, but at some point we have to recognize that our chains have to fall off first. So get this, the chains had to fall off Peter first. Peter was in chains, and he needed to be set free so that he could help others, so that he could go out and serve. He first needed to recognize that something in his life needed to change. He needed to be set free from these chains so that he could go out and do what God had called him to do. In a similar way, Jesus said, "Hypocrite, first get rid of the log in your own eye," because a lot of times what does your prayer life sound like? It's like, "God, fix my wife. God, fix my boss. God, fix all my financial problems." And God says, "No, I want to fix you. My agenda starts with you, your heart." Then, when you are set free from these chains, from whatever is holding you back, then you can go out and help somebody else in the church. Then, after you are set free from the chains, then you will see well enough to deal with the speck in your friend's eyes. What's wrong with the world is in me, but I can also become what is right in the world. I can also grow and mature to the place where it's not me versus the world, it is me in assistance to, me loving the world. I grow when I'm in relationship with God. I grow when I am in tune with God by following His design. Now, sometimes Christianity can get very hard because we have to stop playing the guitar to tune the guitar, right? The music has to stop. It's not pretty. This is not a pretty part of the process. In fact, playing guitar is kind of annoying sometimes, right? If you live in Gillette, you got to humidify it. You got to change out the strings sometimes. You always have to tune it. You got to, all this maturing process is painful in our lives. And the music has to stop in order for this to happen. And it's uncomfortable, but as we grow, it gets easier. We get into the rhythms, we get into the habits. We know that we all need to be tuned. And notice this, only the head can tune the strings. The string, you cannot tune yourself. Only God can tune you. You can't try harder. You can't be good enough. You can't be disciplined enough. You have to allow God and His conviction in your life to get you in line with Him. Because if you try to tune yourself, here's what sometimes can happen. You can tune, but tune to the wrong notes. And so if all my strings are tuned one note too high, it may look on the outside like everything's okay. I may be playing the guitar, and because they're all in sync with each other, it seems like I'm playing the right song until somebody else starts playing with me, and they're in tune. They're on the right notes. And when we start playing together, you realize, there is some conflict here. One of us is in tune. We both sounded fine individually. But once we started playing at the same time, we recognized that one of us is not in tune. Why? Because we tune to ourselves, not to God. One time I was at a concert in Kansas City, and it was a Phil Keaggy concert at a little church. And Phil Keaggy was one of the best guitar players in history. Anybody ever heard of Phil Keaggy? Phil Keaggy, phenomenal guitar player. And Phil Keaggy is playing a song, and while he's playing this song, one of his strings breaks. And if you play guitar, you know that when one string breaks, they all go out of tune. That because the pressure on the neck releases and the neck flexes, and so all the other strings go out of tune. And so for most guitar players, what do they have to do? They got to stop playing and do this. It's really annoying, boring, not a pretty process where you got to tune every single string. You got to stop and make sure, okay, is every single string in tune? This is what happens in our faith walk. There are times when we recognize things aren't going well. God is not the Lord of my life. My maturing process is not progressing, and so I need to stop and ask God, where am I out of tune? What needs to be tuned? So we stop, we pay attention to Him, and we listen to Him, We tune to him, and he tunes us to the notes that we should play so that we can play. That's a long, slow, hard process. But it gets easier. So Phil Keggy, he breaks a string in this concert. And so all of his strings go out of tune. And so you think, okay, he's going to stop now and tune all his strings. He didn't stop playing. He just kept playing. In fact, Phil Keggy was so good that with one string broken, he started playing the song on 3 of the unbroken strings. While he's playing on the top strings, he was tuning the bottom strings. And then he stopped playing on the top strings and started playing on the bottom strings while he was tuning the top strings. And he tuned the whole guitar and finished the song. And there are some Christians that you know who can do this in their lives. It's like I've reached a point in my maturity where life doesn't have to stop in order to make some tweaks. God can tune me on the fly. I'm in tune with him, and now he can kind of, as I continue to serve, as I continue to love, as I continue to do the things that he called me to do, I can keep tuning, make adjustments, becoming more and more like him. Because when we worship God, we're not worshiping him just because he's good, not just because he's strong, not just because he's a creator. We worship God because that great creator loves us enough to individually get down with each of us, help us to mature, to grow, to become the people he created us to be. Who is like him, Lion and the Lamb, seated on the throne. Mountains bow down, every ocean roars to the Lord. Praise Adonai, from the rising of the sun to the end of every day. Praise Adonai, all the nations of the earth, all the angels and the saints sing praise. Praise him, the Lion, seated on the throne. Praise him, the nation, God of Judah. Oh, praise him, the mountain, every ocean roar, lift up our Savior. Praise Adonai, oh, praise Adonai, from the rising of the sun to the end of every day. Praise Adonai, all the nations of the earth, all the angels and the saints. So the connection of the string to the head is a gift. But if you connect the string to the head and then attempt to play the guitars, it's not going to sound that great, right? So we need the second gift as well. We need to be connected to the body, connected to the church. Because the body gives the music volume. It gives the body, or the music, beauty. The body creates harmonics. It's more attractive. It's more effective. Without the body, it's just a twangy sound. If you want to make the music that God created you to make, fully created, designed on purpose to make, then you have to be connected to the head so that he can tune you. And you have to be connected to his body. Sing some old songs if you want to sing along. Go for it.
are one in the Spirit. We are one in the Lord. We are one in the Spirit. We are one in the Lord. And I pray that our unity may one day be restored. And they'll know we are Christians by our love, by our love. Yes, they'll know we are Christians by our love. We'll walk with each other. We'll walk hand in hand. We will walk with each other. We will walk hand in hand. And together we'll spread the news that God is in our land. And they'll know we are Christians by our love, by our love. Yes, they'll know we are Christians by our love. They'll know us by our love. Side by side, we will work with each other. We will work side by side, and we'll guard each other's dignity and save each other's pride. And they'll know we are Christians by our love, by our love. Yes, they'll know we are Christians by our love. We are the body. We're the family, because the cool thing about being the string is that, or being the body, is we don't just aren't connected to the body. As we are connected to the body, we become more and more like one, together, unity. We support each other, and we do that by loving each other, by sacrificing for each other. Paul told the church in Ephesus, this is a Greek church, this is a Gentile church. He says, you are no longer strangers and foreigners. You're now adopted into the body. You are citizens along with all of God's holy people. You are members of God's family. You know, the church I grew up around did a lot of this. We would walk into church pretending like we had everything together. We had it going on. You should have seen how successful I was this week at work. You should have seen my house is all in order. We got no trash anywhere. It's all clean. We walk into church. We would dress up nicer on Sundays than we did the rest of the week. Not because we like to dress up, but it was because we were putting on, a more holy face. I'm holy. How are you doing? How was your weekend? Was it good? Good weather out there. How about them Chiefs? Yeah, have those conversations. We just keep going through church, do the motions, sit through the service, and we do it all carrying these burdens and pretending like they're not there. We're good. We'll just show each other how strong we are. I don't know, I have a wrist issue, and that's killing. Because we get home, and we're like, okay, I can quit pretending now. I can quit acting. It's no longer we quit going to church. It's like, I can't do that. I can't do the pretending thing anymore. Well, good, because that's never what you were supposed to do. That's not what the church was supposed to be. We are supposed to see each other's burdens, recognize each other's pains, see each other's chains, and help each other set free. To release those burdens, to help each other carry burdens, you need a life group. Did I mention it? We need the church. We have to be connected to the church. You ever seen one of these before? This is called a bridge pin. And a bridge pin, you may not even know this exists on a guitar. It's incredibly important on the guitar. This little pin is what connects the strings to the body. Without it, they just come disconnected. Today, I'm going to ask you to take a step, an action, a call to action. We're going to sing one more song, and while we do, I want to invite you to come forward and take a pin from one of these baskets. There's 5 tables around the room. You can go to the one that's closest to you. But I don't want everybody to come. Actually, I'd love it if everybody came, but not everybody's going to come. Because by taking a pin, here's the statement you're making. I'm not going to stay where I am anymore. You are making a commitment to take a step in participation with what God is doing in the world by taking a step deeper into the church. And so I don't know where you are. You've got to contextualize this. You've got to figure out what your step is. You've got to decide if that step is a step of serving or showing up more often or giving financially or whatever that step is for you. You know what that is. Holy Spirit is telling you right now. And so my invitation is, if you are ready to take a step, whatever step the Holy Spirit is telling you to take right now, if you're ready to take that step, then coming forward while we sing this next song to take a bridge pin is your commitment, a commitment that you are making, that today I will move in that direction. I will take that step today. And when we talk about being connected to the church, the body, I know that the body is more than just this church. This local church is our local part of the body. And there has been times when I have recommended to people that, hey, Journey would be a better fit for you. There's been times that I've recommended, hey, G4 would be a better fit for you. But if this is the church, the local body that God has called you to be a part of, then don't do it half-heartedly. Dive in. Go deep. Don't just put it on the side and hope that it's going to do everything it's supposed to do. Don't relegate your children downstairs and, okay, we did our church thing for the week. Get connected to the body, and because it's the only way that you can become the person that God created you to be. So as we sing this one more song, you can sing along, but come forward and grab a pin, and then we will dismiss after that. Lord, I confess, bowing here, I find my rest. Without you, I fall apart. You're the one that guides my heart. Lord, I need you. Oh, I need you. Every hour I need you. My one defense, my righteousness. Oh God, how I need you. Sin runs deep, your grace is more. Where grace is found is where you are. Where you are, Lord, I am free. Holiness is Christ in me. Lord, I need you. Oh, I need temptation comes my way, when I cannot stand, I'll fall on you. Jesus, you're my hope and stay. Teach my song to rise to you when temptation comes my way. When I cannot stand, I'll fall on you. Jesus, you're my hope and stay. For you, Lord, Lord, I need you. Oh, I need you. Every hour I need you. My one defense, my righteousness. Oh God, how I need you. Lord, I need you. Oh, I need you. Every hour I need. My one defense, my righteousness. Oh God, how I need you. You're my one defense, my righteousness. Oh God, how I need you. God, we say thank you. Thank you for your body. Thank you for shedding the blood that allows us to be adopted into your family. God, give us the courage to stay connected. The world is criticizing and diminishing what you are doing here in your body, how you are using it to affect the world. Pray, God, that we would tune out the rest of the noise and run to you. Become the people you created us to be. God, help us to have the courage to help each other, to see each other in need, to love one another, to sacrifice for each other. Help us to take the steps you've called us to take. We love you and thank you in Jesus' name. Amen. You may be seated and watch this.
Hey, Church 307. It is so good to spend this morning with you. I hope you enjoyed your time, enjoyed the message. Mike really killed it on that one. I want to just remind you that I know you're watching from afar possibly and don't actually are in maybe a life group, you don't have a community, but this is a good time for you to get in a community with fellow believers to hang out, talk about life, talk about Jesus. So if you haven't found a group, hey, try to find some people around you and make it a point to hang out with them on a weekly basis or at least a regular basis. Mike also, during that last song, invited people to come forward to make a decision for their next step. And yeah, you're not here, but we still want to invite you to make that next step. You can go to connect.church307.com and fill out that form. There's a whole list of things that could be a next step, and if there's something that's not on there, there's an other. You can check that box, and then right below it, you can write on the form the other thing that you're kind of what you're wanting to do for a next step. And we would love to just see what that is and reach out to you and come alongside of you as you make that next step choice. Also, another next step for your faith is giving to the church. If you're not totally familiar with the church, you might hear this word tithe, and tithe is just a word that talks about being it's 10%. And so as Christians, we're called to tithe to the church. We're called to give 10% of our income back to God. And I say back to God because as Christians, we believe that God is, he owns everything. Everything that's ours is actually God's, and he's just asking that we would give 10% of it back to him so he can use that to further his kingdom. And so as Christians, we put our trust in Jesus, we put our trust in God, and we know that he can do so much with that 10%, way more than we could do. So we willingly give it back to God. And so I want to encourage you to give 10% today. You can go to give.church307.com and set up your gift right there, and just put your trust in Jesus fully. Hey, it was so good to have you here again. I just want to say have a great week, and Jesus loves you unconditionally, and he died to give you new life. Hey, go in peace.
You can give on newlifegillette.com.